Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to get started in 1 to 2 minutes and just let people log on. So we'll start soon. Thanks. Hi, everyone. We're just going to go ahead and get started now, and we'll just let people log on as they come. Thanks for showing up. If everyone who's attending, if you could put your name, your class year, and where you're logging in from in the chat box, we really appreciate to know who's here tonight. I'm Jasmine. I'm the Alumni Relations Events Coordinator, and I'm really excited to have this panel today with these lovely students. They're going to be talking about their experience on campus, going to college during a global pandemic, and they're also going to be talking about what it's like to be on campus during our culture of care. Our culture of care is something that the university has implemented to keep our students, faculty, and staff safe. So everyone wears a mask on campus and keeps 6 feet apart. So we're just going to dive in and get started. Aditi, why don't we start with you? And if you could say your name, class year, major and minor, and where you're from.
Thank you, Jasmine. Hi, everyone. My name is Aditi Sharma. I am the class of 2021, which means I'm a senior. I'm majoring in business finance and economics. And I am from Kathmandu, Nepal. So I'm an international student here at Hollins.
Caitlin, why don't we go to you next?
Thank you, Jasmine. Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin Phillips. I'm also class of 2021, and I'm a dance and history double major, and I'm from Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Jiden, you can go next.
Thank you, and hi everyone. My name is Jiden Kubera. I'm a junior psychology major, and I'm from the island of Saipan.
Elizabeth, what about you?
Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Dion. I'm a junior international studies and theater double major, and I'm from Woodbridge, Virginia.
Pauline, you can go next, and then we'll go to Erin, and then we'll finish up with Sophia.
Oh. Okay. Hi, my name is Pauline. I'm the class of 2023. My major is biology with a minor in chemistry, and I'm from Holly Springs, North Carolina.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Waters. I am a sophomore biology major, GWS double major. I am from Baltimore, Maryland.
Hi, my name is Sophia. I am class of 2024, so I'm a freshman. My intended major is history with an intended minor in economics, and I come from Bellingham, Washington.
Great. So the way that tonight's going to go, even though we have a panel, there's no structured way that students can answer these questions. They're just going to jump right into conversations. But since Sophia is a first year and she's my work study student, how about you tell us how you found Hollins?
To be completely and bluntly honest, it was mostly due to a very aggressive email campaign. They just kept the name Hollins University just kept showing up over and over again in my email. And so when I was going to like clear things out, I kept taking notice of it. I'm like, okay, they clearly want to talk to me. So I'm going to look into them. And when I did, and Hollins University ended up checking off a lot of the boxes that I was interested in. It was small, it was private, it was liberal arts, and the fact that it was an all women's college was a feature for me, not a bug. So I think the personalized attention in the form of like the emails, and there were also a bunch of letters and postcards that they sent to me throughout the year, was definitely a huge factor in helping me choose.
So I'll say I found Hollins the fall semester of my senior year of high school. So I was a little bit late to the game, but it ended up, like Sophia said, checking a lot of my boxes. And then I toured like 4 times and decided that it was where I wanted to be. So it was kind of an instant connection. But yeah.
Yeah, I found Hollins actually at a college fair my junior year, and ended up really hitting it off with my admissions counselor, Molly Emma. And yeah, we like talked all the time. I like forgot about it for a while, and then like senior came around, and I was like, I have to look at colleges again. And then I started to get the emails and such, and then I was getting the postcards, and then I came to all the events. I think I came to like every single event. And I was actually Hollins was kind of a surprise for me because I was always planning on going to a large school. I was actually on my way to visit Virginia Tech. Me and my mom were like, oh, like let's take a tour at Hollins. It's on the way. So we made a pit stop at Hollins before we got to Virginia Tech. And I was like, we don't need to go to Virginia Tech anymore. Yeah, so I like immediately knew when I came to visit. So
Yeah, same thing for me. I was really interested in a really big university. I was looking at schools at like Xavier, UCLA, things that were really kind of far from home. And then I came to visit on Acceptance Students Day, and I fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with everybody here, and I decided to stay.
For me, Hollins was one of the top choices by my counselors. Coming from Nepal, it was kind of difficult to decide which college to go to. So I took a virtual tour. I took a virtual tour 4 times, unfortunately, not on not on campus like Caitlin did, but and then it just like felt like home since the very beginning. The hills and the valley kind of feel that it has, and like the close community, it just felt right.
Yeah, for me, I came to visit on Distinguished Scholars Day when I got my interview for the Batten Scholarship here. So I'm frozen.
You're
Okay. Yeah. When I came here. Oh Lord, this is a lot. Okay. Am I frozen?
No, you're still frozen, but how about you try to log off and then log back in, Pauline, and then we'll come back to you. Jiden, how about you?
Okay, I got you.
So I originally heard about Hollins because I had an aunt who was attending Hollins. She just graduated last year, and so we're only 2 years apart. And so she was the one that like was telling me like, "Hey, you should attend Hollins. It's such a great school," and things like that. And I was still kind of skeptical about it. I wasn't sure. Like I also wanted to go to a larger university, and but like since I'm from Saipan, it's technically like far, so they called us international. And Hollins was like the only school out of like 8 other universities that I got accepted to that was very welcoming. They helped me throughout the whole transition program from home to here. And I was just like, you know what? I think Hollins is the school for me.
Awesome. So while Pauline is connecting, we'll just move on to the next question. And that is, this is what this panel is all about. We're going to be talking about the pandemic and what it's like to be on campus. But I want to know, how did it feel like coming back to campus? Or as Sophia, she's a first year, how did it feel like getting to campus and finding a community? And also, considering that you have the option to do remote learning, what made you decide to move on to campus and come back this year? And anyone can start.
Well, for me, it was a bit nerve-wracking. It just kind of the uncertainty of coming back to school with just everything that was going on and not knowing if whether other students were going to try to adhere to the culture of care, and kind of just like taking it really, really small baby steps. And I just decided to come back because I wanted to see, and I wanted to have that experience. And if it wasn't what I had wanted it to be, um, my family and I had came to the options of me just coming back home and going full virtual. So
Hi. So if you're wondering why there's two Paulines, it's because I'm using my phone for the audio because it's better anyway. So, okay. So, hi, I'm Pauline, and I'm going to answer the question that I didn't answer as well as the one that we're on. So, I found Hollins through lots of emails and lots of high school visits as well. And then I visited Hollins on Distinguished Scholars Weekend when I interviewed for the Batten Scholarship. And um, I was deciding between really, really big schools and really, really small schools. And I was very indecisive. And then all of a sudden I got the scholarship. So then I came. And then also when I came back on campus during this pandemic, I was also very nervous. My parents especially were very, very nervous. They were the main ones telling me that I should go virtual completely because of the fact that, again, the uncertainty and everything. But then once I came on campus and noticed how much Hollins really took the cultural care into place and really, really made it, it made us feel very safe, at least me, feel very safe to be on campus and them having really strict regulations so we can actually attend classes and learn in person without having to worry too much about contracting a disease. So yes.
Yeah, going online was like not even an option for me. I was like, I have to be back on campus. Like I need to be around my people. I'm in an apartment with my friends this year, and I was like, I need to be living with my friends instead of like my family. I'm going crazy. Like I love my family, and I would do school with them, and like, we survived spring semester online, but I was like, I need to be back on campus. I want to be able to see Front Quad and with the mountains, and I was like, I really need to be here. And I was a little like, not skeptical, but like a little bit nervous too at first because I was like, what if there's an outbreak? Like, what if I have to get sent home? But like all summer, I'd been thinking like, what are they gonna do? But I was like, if given the option, I will be back on campus because I think if any school can do it, Hollins can. Partly because we are so small in size, and so just like logistically that works out better. But also because the culture we have is it's so caring. It's the culture of care, literally. But like I trust everyone on campus, like literally with my life. So I always had faith that Hollins had a much better chance than any other school.
Yeah, for me, I'm writing 2 theses this year, one for each major, and I really wanted the opportunity to be on campus to work on both of those, especially considering I have to make a dance piece. So having studio space and the possibility to rehearse in those studios was really, really important to me. And I also know that where I'm from, Chapel Hill is only 3 hours away. So if we needed to evacuate, that would be a possibility for me. So I feel very lucky, but I also feel extremely lucky that we're 6 weeks in and we're still going strong. So I'm really proud of us.
Yeah, for me personally, it was like not even an option because if I had stayed home, it was a 12-hour time difference, and I know I couldn't handle that. On top of that, I'm in my senior year, so I really wanted to be on campus. And like Elizabeth, I'm also on in the apartment, so I didn't want to miss that opportunity living with my friends and everything. And I miss the campus, I miss the front quad, and like everything. Like it just being on Hollins, it brings back the campus feel. Of course, it's not the same as like it has been in the other semesters, but it kind of motivates you to study more. To be honest, I don't think I could have studied as much as I am studying right now if I was back home. So, yeah.
For me, I knew I had a lot of responsibilities. So, as the co-chair of Accent and the president of Carven Global House, I didn't want to let my like team and my members down, and so I took it as in my like ability to like come here and let everyone feel involved and be there for them. So I wanted to be that person, and I didn't want to let anyone down. And also, most of my friends are seniors, and I just wanted to spend their last year with them. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to come to campus. I'm going to be with them, even if it means being socially distanced. It's still, we're still next to each other, and that's what matters.
Keaton, you kind of touched on what I'm about to ask next. And like, can you guys talk about how you guys are having fun on campus? What are student activities like? How are you sustaining friendships? And how are you doing all of this while also adhering to the culture of care?
So on campus right now, how I'm having fun is I'm on the Hollins activity board. So we plan lots of different things. And what we really wanted to work on was how to include the students that are off campus and on campus at the same time, to have virtual events and everything. And for me, planning is fun, but attending those events are also fun. We are pretty creative in trying to make everything virtual. For example, one of our traditions that we do is cider house, and usually cider house is during family weekend, and that's when everyone comes together, and we can't have that. So we're trying to make cider house this year virtual, and have prizes for cider house that could be sent from campus to the people that are virtual. And we're honestly just trying our hardest. Another way I'm having fun is honestly spending time with myself. I think that's fun for me, because I feel like when we're on Zoom all day, it can be a little bit draining because classes are long and everything. So just honestly spending time outside and being on campus, like Hollins is beautiful. So obviously just being outside and enjoying the weather while it's still a little warm is fun to me. So that's, yeah.
Same thing as Pauline. We spend a lot, me and my friends, we try to spend a lot of time outside, socially distanced. And we try to just, try to see each other when we can, when we, outside of classes and stuff. I'm also on HAB, the Hollins Activity Board, but I am on the Novelty Committee. And so we put on things like the weekly bingo, and we do a lot of fun activities around campus. And so along while planning those, I try to attend as many as I can, along with other HAB events, just so I can get out of the room, because when you sit and do classes online all day, it gets to be a lot. So
Yeah, I think the popularity of picnicking has skyrocketed since coming back to campus, especially because the weather's been so nice recently. We all got picnic blankets when we came back, like within our, like when we checked in. So we all have matching like Holland's picnic blankets. And we use them a lot. Like you walk around campus, there's always somebody out in the grass, like picnicking with their friends. And I think that's a great way that people have come together, because we can't exactly, like walk in the Moody and be like, oh, here's my friend, let me go talk and sit with you, because there's like less seating and you have to be distanced and stuff, especially since when people are eating, there's no mask. But when you're outside, you can just have a picnic spread out with all your friends, which is a great thing that like I've been doing. And I've been doing it. I'm a student success leader. I've been doing it with my first year sometimes, to get them to like come together outside of class and just like hang out with each other. So a lot of outside stuff. I've gone hiking, I go biking to have fun. The hab events that have been happening are really fun. I think my favorite was a couple weeks ago, they had the stuffed animal stuffing on front quad, and I think it was like almost half the campus came. Yeah, I think a lot of good stuff happening there. Yeah.
Yes, Elizabeth, I have my stuffed animal on my bed. That was a great event. I also loved the like keychain making event to scare off the skunks. Yeah, Hab has been doing a great job with those. I also like to cook, and so one thing we've been doing, I live in Spanish House in East, and of course we adhere to the guidelines that there's only one person in the kitchen at a time, but something I really like to do is cook and then, safely share with my housemates, since food brings people together. So,
Another thing that I've noticed, at the very least, me and my friends have been doing, is we've been since the common spaces in all of the dorms are so limited for in terms of amount of people that they can host. I've noticed that we've been like individually making our own Zoom meetings. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen or heard about presentation parties, but basically what we do is that we each pick some kind of like niche subject that we're really invested in, and we make our own little crash course presentation on it, and we're able to share screens with everyone and basically be able to have fun and like info dump with each other, that sort of way. Um, another way that I've noticed that people were having fun, me specifically, is that since some sports are still open, like I know soccer and equestrian, and I think basketball are still up and open and socially distant, like practicing, but just being able to hang out with my teammates, and go out, get food at Moody, but then go back outside and picnic like everyone else. Those are all very fun things to do, and I really do hope we continue to do it after everything.
For me personally, something my friends and I have been doing is walking the loop a lot because we can stay distant and still talk and have fun, especially during the evenings when you can see the sunset from the barn and just kind of sit there and observe. Yeah, and it gets some exercise in during the day, especially when we're sitting on inside our rooms and taking our classes. I mean, mostly. So it's kind of refreshing to walk around, and at the same time, it's kind of helpful to see friends and kind of have familiar faces, especially after sitting in your room all day.
And for me, like I mentioned, I'm the Carvin president. And so what I try to do with our little community in Carvin is that every month we do like a little event with ourselves. So last month we did a Jeopardy through Zoom, and then whoever like won the Jeopardy would get a prize. And then this month we're doing like a music showdown. So we're doing Zooms, but yet everyone gets to open their door rooms or the room doors, like their doors, and then we each play like a loud music and just talk to each other, saying like, oh, this is from my country, this is what it means, you can dance with me, I'll show you a bit of new moves that goes with the song. And then also like for accent, we're trying to create events where we're going to do like a socially distanced fashion show as well as a dance off in front quad, which we're hopefully have planning to have on the end of October.
That's great. I'm glad that you guys have all figured out how to have fun, but keeping it safe and socially distant. Something that our alums have asked in the Q&A, and I guess you guys can talk about, is what is it like having classes hybrid? So some are in person, some are online, some are a combination of both. How's the getting adjusted to that, and how are classes going?
It's really interesting, especially being a dance major, and we do have class in person. So we alternate weeks between one instructor who teaches in person and then another one who's based in Massachusetts who teaches us through Zoom. So we wear our masks all the time, we socially distance, they put us in Botetourt in the reading room, so we have a larger studio space. But so that's been really interesting to adjust to different styles of trying to learn from professors. Because it's a very different dance experience learning from an in-person instructor versus an instructor on Zoom. So yeah, it's been really interesting. And then for me, I have thesis class in person in the dance studio. There's only 3 of us, so it's really easy to socially distance, and we keep our masks on and everything. And then I do have an in-person painting class as well, so that's also been fun, and obviously masked and social distance. It's an adjustment, but it's going smoother than I expected for myself personally. So it's been really fun and interesting as well.
Yeah, most of my classes are actually in person. I only have one online class and one like 50-50 hybrid class. So mine are actually in person. My French class is in person, and that was kind of a hard adjustment because French with masks and also like seating space 6 feet apart or like farther is kind of hard because usually we're in like a circular situation, so we can like have discussion easier. But that was an adjustment. I think we're all used to it now. In that particular class, we have about 4 students that are online as well. And so we have like the Zoom students and then also us in class, like 6 feet apart with masks. So it's a little like chaotic at first, but I think we've really gotten the hang of it. And then I have another class that's sound design, and we on Tuesdays we're on Zoom for the full 90 minutes. And then on Thursday, since there's only 8 people in the class, she split the class in half. So 3 of us, actually 2 of my roommates are in the class with me. So we all go to the in-person class for 45 minutes. And then the other half of the class comes for the second 45 minutes. So that's kind of one of the forms of like hybridity that they came up with. And it's working pretty well, so.
I actually have mostly online classes. I only have one in-person class, and it would be my freshman seminar. I'd have to say one of the I guess the challenges overall, specifically as like a first year, is that I don't quite know. I already have no idea what to expect in terms of like workload and like due dates. So I have no idea if this professor is being unreasonably demanding or if I need to actually step up my game and get more work done, or whether they're going easy on us because of a pandemic. There's no base of reference, and it's all kind of an adjustment thing. But the classes on Zoom and the class in person are all very, very lovely. The professors are very accommodating for what all of their students need. The one class that I have in person, the freshman seminar, is all very well regulated in terms of space and masks and disinfecting. It is a discussion class, and with the masks on, it gets a little bit tough for one of like a quiet student on the other end of the room to be able to be heard. So sometimes it does feel like we're yelling our opinions at each other and discussion questions. But I think we're making it work.
Yeah. So my classes are a mix of both. I can't really count which one's more because it's interesting. So my schedule goes like on Mondays, I have organic chemistry on at 8 a.m. And that class is a hybrid class for Mondays and Wednesdays. We have it in person in the Babcock Auditorium in Dana. And then on Fridays, we have it on Zoom. And then my next class is ancient philosophy. So I take that on Zoom as well because the professor's at home. And then for molecular cell biology, I take that in person on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then on Zoom on Fridays. Then the thing about labs is kind of weird because during the lab times, we have a pre-lab session that starts at 1:30. No, it starts at 1 o'clock to 1:30. And then that one's on Zoom. Then we have to go all the way to our lab station at our specific times. It's very confusing. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have my gym class, Strong Women Going Places, and that one's in person mostly. But we do have the wellness version of it where you have to take a lecture on like either sleep or nutrition or whatever, and that's on Zoom. And then I have my BLI class, which is all on Zoom. And then yeah, it's an interesting ride. Honestly, at first it was very confusing because sometimes I would literally find myself in the classroom where no one's there, and I'm like, oh, we're on Zoom. Oh, forgot. But yeah, but it's okay. Honestly, now I'm very used to it, and it's become the new norm. So yeah.
Like going off of what Pauline said, it's very like when we first started classes, it was very confusing and it took a long time to get adjusted. There were times where like you would be at home an in-person class day and you needed to be in class because you didn't really have the option to go online. I think now that everybody has been here for so long and we've gotten adjusted, it's gotten easier. Um, yeah, most of my classes are kind of like this hybrid mix. Most of my classes on Friday are online, but like Monday and Wednesdays are really, really busy. The labs we have to go through.
Oh, I think your sound has cut off, Aaron. Let me try to mute you and then you can try to unmute yourself. We still can't hear you, so you may have to sign off and then log back in. We can move to someone else while Erin is figuring out her sound.
Okay, so as you have heard from everyone else, usually the beginning, the first week is the most confusing out of all. But after a while, it does get like you get used to it. I personally think that the professors have harder time, like because they're the one that has to plan everything, they're the one that has to do everything, and I just feel bad for them. I know one of my professors, he tries his best to get everyone involved, like through Zoom and in person by doing like a catching up before every class and a little like icebreaker. And most of my class, since I'm a psychology major, is really large. Most of us have like 28 students, large for Hollins, 28 students. And so a lot of my professors does like a half half. So sometimes we'll be have half of the week where on Zoom, half of the week we're in person, and then other class they completely break the class up in half and like they're like you first group comes on Mondays and the second group comes on Wednesdays. So it's like there's each class does it differently. Some just goes directly on Zoom. Like I have one class who we just always meet on Zoom and it's just discussion based. So it's easier that way because we don't have the mask problem. We can see each other on our full beautiful faces. So I'm okay with it. It gets getting used to. So
Yeah, like Jeeden said, I feel bad for the professors because they have to plan accordingly. And most of them haven't used Zoom yet, and it was difficult for us to accommodate to it. So I can't imagine how it was for them. And so most of my classes are like calculation based, being a finance major. Like, for example, in my accounting class, my professor like literally writes everything down on the screen, which is like now it's getting better, but at first we couldn't understand anything. They have tried to make it fun. Like, for example, we played Jeopardy the other day for accounting, which was like a different experience, but it was such a fun time. And it was like, it felt like we were all together in class or just like having fun and having the good experience. um, I also have a language class. I have a Spanish class, which is like Elizabeth said, like it's difficult to understand the pronunciations and stuff, especially when you're taking like a 101 class, you know nothing about the language. So I started taking it online instead of in person because when it's online, the professor is actually talking to the camera and the pronunciation is actually more accurate and you can listen to it more properly. So yeah, it has been challenging, but I do not regret coming back and taking classes, honestly.
Aaron, let's see if we can hear you now and you can go ahead and answer the question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I was just going off of what everybody else said. It's been a challenging adjustment, more or less. I think we have it obviously to still be here and have such low test results. I think everything from just the randomized testing to the way that um, classes are being held, I think it's been handled pretty well. So yeah.
Awesome. The next question is, and this is more for Sophia for first years, but I'm going to extend this to everyone. How difficult has it been to recognize your fellow classmates with mask on, since you barely know them anyway and you're not seeing their faces? But also, how have you guys, like for returning students, when I was at Hollins, every year I made a new friend. So do you still feel like you're making friends, or how has that been with socially distancing and things like that?
Perhaps I'm the wrong first year to ask that specific question because I already have an element of like face blindness in the first place. There was a girl who's on the soccer team with me who we were both very close on the soccer team once we had met. That we've both now realized that we, like 6 weeks in, we realized this, I think, yesterday, that not only are we in a class together that we have been partners on, but also that we are in the same dorm hall on the same dorm floor and that we've been basically neighbors for the entire 6 weeks. And neither of us realized because our faces on Zoom and our faces in the masks look so different. So yeah, I would say specifically for me, it's a little bit difficult to, and because the masks change so much, it's not like I can remember, oh, this is the top half of your face, and the bottom half of your face is always going to be a purple mask because it's not. So I would say it's very difficult for me. I'm getting better at it, but and I don't think that this has stood in the way of me meeting new people and making new friends. It's just sometimes I'm meeting a person I've already met and befriended before.
Yeah, it's been pretty difficult. I'm a second year, but it's been interesting, honestly. Like especially going up to the friends that you're used to going up to. You're like, "Hey, what's up?" Because you recognize them, but they have no idea who you are. It's like a really awkward dynamic, but we all share. So honestly, it's not too bad. We're all getting used to it. We laugh about it. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of worried. Like I said before, I'm a student success leader, so I was like, am I gonna remember like my first year's faces? Like when I see them outside of class, like how am I gonna learn their names and stuff? But I got it really fast actually, because I think once you come back and you get used to seeing people with masks on, that's how you remember them. Like if you meet them like this year, you'll remember them by how they look with a mask on. So you kind of learn to just like identify through non-mouth or nose related features. Yeah, it's been going a lot better than I thought it would. I was really worried about it. And I mean, as a junior, I'm still making new friends this semester, despite social distancing and masks and stuff, just through like classes and study groups and things. So the world still turns and we still meet new people, even if you can't see their mouth.
For me as a senior, I haven't made new friends much because I'm either in the apartment with my friends who I'm already close to, or in class, or I'm just running to Moody to grab some food or something, or going to work. Um, so for me, I haven't had made new friends, but it's nice to see new faces, at least in Zoom and like other classes. It kind of makes you feel like, okay, I'm in class, I'm doing something kind of thing. But unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to make new friends.
For me, weirdly enough, it's not that I can't recognize the person. Like if I already knew you and I see your face in a mask, it's not that I can't recognize who you are. It's I don't remember how you look like without the mask. So so when I see certain people that I'm really close friends with on Zoom without a mask, I'm like, oh, that's how they look like. Or like certain professors. I know like probably for the new professors, because I have like 2 or 3 new professors that just came to Hollins this year. Then I do not know how they look like without their mask. But other than that, I feel like it's the opposite for me. And I don't really meet or have new friends as much as like Aditi said, because I have a busy schedule. Like I'm always at work. But because I work in the library, I do see a lot of new people. So it's like, even though I don't make close friendships, I still get to see like all the new faces and say like, oh, hello, welcome, and like help everyone and things like that.
Uh, Same, really. It's kind of hard. But you kind of get used to it. We've been doing this, for 6 months, just trying to see people with and learn to like recognize people with a mask and stuff. So, it's definitely a lot harder than it should be, but it comes, I think, sort of the hardest part is more like social distancing and trying to like when you finally recognize your friends, just kind of like not going up to them and hugging them and like touching because you got to stay 6 feet. And so, but you're their friends and we haven't seen them in months. And so it's kind of hard to just not want to show your affection, but like in a 6 feet distance way.
And then the last question that we have, and this is more of like how you guys are taking care of yourselves. How are you guys practicing self care? You know, self care is really important, especially what we're living through right now, going through a pandemic, all the fears and the things that we don't know. So, how are you guys practicing self care and taking care of yourselves while also being a college student?
This isn't necessarily pandemic related, but naps is all I take. Naps is all I know. Um, I sleep a lot, but besides that, I do try to like take breaks in between my studying, and I also try to just find different things that I may be interested in. Like right now, I'm really into Among Us. I love the game. I love playing it with my friends. So yeah, just trying to find different things that wouldn't usually do. While also just trying to make sure that I relax and like schedule my time out.
Yeah, for me, I have been taking like off screen times because we have been staring at the screen for a long time. So, for example, as I mentioned earlier, I go for a walk, I hang out with my friends, or we cook and stuff. So, that kind of has been like a self care kind of thing for me. I have this alarm in my phone that's like, okay, you got to take a break right now because you've been on your laptop doing either assignments, taking classes, doing your papers, anything. You're just on your laptop or on your phone, to be honest. And I just think like that's a very important thing, especially right now. It just the eyes get tired, and I think it's like everything. Everybody should do that for themselves.
Yeah, I agree with the DT completely with the taking breaks off of the screen, honestly. Even with social media in general, I take social media breaks because those are very, really nice because I feel like since we're doing this whole social distancing stuff, everything has become so virtual, it almost doesn't really feel like we're actually connecting to anything or anybody all the time. So I feel like once you really log off and disconnect and just kind of enjoy what's around you physically, you kind of get into touch with yourself more and the world around you, even if you can't really, you know, yeah, you can't really do the same things as you want to do all the time before the pandemic. Also, another thing that I like to do is, first of all, work out. Working out is a huge stress reliever for me for the rigorous amount of classes that I take. And yeah, honestly, that is really nice. Also, just talking with friends or just laughing. Laughing is definitely a self-care type of thing. Even if it's social distance or like if I have a few friends that we're in a room in Dana and we're studying together. And honestly, we take
very long breaks and we watch weird videos and we just, just having a good time. Because I feel like a lot of this time around, we're all so serious about everything. We're so strict about everything. It doesn't feel like we're actually taking the time to live life and just let go. So I take any time I can take and utilize that for laughter.
Sorry, Caitlin, you go.
Oh, yeah, it's been challenging, especially because I do feel like I'm rushing around all the time, or like my dance class ends and then I have a Zoom class, 20 minutes later. So it has been hard to find like time that's not on a screen, not doing classes. But I do really like going to drive to get like, a piece of chocolate or something at the CVS and then like come back and watch a show that I like and eat it. Like little things to indulge a little bit, but to give my brain a little break from, everything going
on. When my mother was helping me move in, she was very concerned about this specific kind of area. So she made sure I was well stocked up with some of my, and this is something I wouldn't have ever thought about if she hadn't done it. But like some of my favorite like instant drinks, like teas and hot chocolate, because even when you're super like swamped for time, like you've got a million papers due and a class in a couple of minutes, it's pretty easy to go downstairs, use the kitchen for like 3 minutes and make yourself a nice cup of tea. Sometimes tea isn't about like having like a nice drink or hydrating. Sometimes it's about having the company of a tea. I don't know how to explain it. So that's one way. Another way was introduced to me by one of my classmates that I found on a very nice day outside lying in the grass. And I went over and asked, what are you doing? She's like, I am lying in the dirt. And she's like, and it's doing wonders for my mental health. You should join me. And it's something we ended up doing kind of together. And there's something, I'm not sure what it is, but like lying back and feeling the sun and just kind of existing in a moment of peace outside. It was really good for both of us, I think. And I would encourage everyone in the midst of this pandemic to find a nice sunny patch of grass and just lie down in the dirt.
Yeah, I've been really into the going outside as self-care. I brought my hammock to school. Actually, I have a couple extra, so my roommates can use them too, and we'll go and we'll hammock outside if the weather's nice. We don't have anything else to do. Something you've also been doing, I spend a lot of my like self-care time with my friends and like with my roommates, and we're currently in the middle of we've almost finished it, but we've been watching the TV show New Girl like since we got to school. So like every evening, not every evening, we're all very busy, but when we all have like a free couple of like 20 minutes or so, we'll like come together in the living room and just like watch New Girl and like make a bowl of popcorn and like hang out together. And it's just like really nice. It's a really nice way to just like relax and watch a silly TV show and like forget about your troubles in the world and whatnot.
So I really love nature and I'm an extreme health advocate. So what I do is like I work out every day. Working out actually makes me feel happier and stress free. I wake up like early and I'm like, oh, listen to like a nice podcast, like a lo-fi type of beat to get myself awake. And then I would work out and then I would go for a run. I usually like go for like a 5 mile run, but then for the first mile or two, I would have my dog with me and just bring him out, take him out for a little walk since he's a corgi with stubby legs and love to run, and like just spending time with my friends. So since we don't have a lot of classes together, I'll be like, hey, let's go like go eat lunch outside near the trees or under the sun or near the fire pit in the apartments and things like that. Like just being outside in nature, being with your friends and just doing things that make you happy and energized and stress free is I'm all for it.
I think that's the most important part. Even if we were in a pandemic, finding self care while being a college student is always important. I just think while we're living in such like heavy times, like finding that balance for yourself and finding like peace and knowing how you can move on and be resilient is just really good. I just want to thank all of you guys for coming and being panelists, to our students for being panelists today. It really gave insight to what campus life is like. I didn't even know. I learned a lot from you all about how classes are, what you guys are doing, how you guys are staying like having fun and all those good things. I also want to thank you because you were also able to share how resilient Hollins students are. And I think that is the most important part. We're 6 weeks in and we've just been going so strong. And I think it is truly because we have like a community that cares and we're following the culture of care like we're supposed to. I also want to thank our attendees for coming and listening to students. I know our alumni were really intrigued to know what campus life was like. And so, yeah, this panel was recorded. So if you want to listen to this later, or you know anybody who wants to listen, just reach out to the Alumni Relations Office and we can get that to you guys. And I hope everyone has a great evening. Thanks, everyone. Bye.